Thank you very much, and good evening, ladies and gentlemen. It's wonderful to be here and especially talking to this audience. We as a company greatly feel the responsibility of not only leading, bringing the future into our company, but also creating national change across all industries, healthcare, journalism, education. We feel it's our responsibility to not only guide, but also to enable as many people as possible, and especially in the field of journalism. It is probably one of the most disrupted fields in the world. If you take over the last 500 years, from the invention of the printing press to the telegraph to the telephone to the radio to television, then to internet, digital television, at every single stage, the field of journalism, the field of news, has been fundamentally disrupted on three fronts. Number one, how you collect the information that you need for your reporting. Two, how you prepare your content. And three, very importantly, how you deliver your content. Those three facets, every single time that there's been a disruption, a new technology coming in, there's been a fundamental shift in how each one of you would approach your jobs. But that doesn't mean that the fundamentals of how you report, the ethics of reporting have changed, but just that the method that you use to get to that final outcome, to send that information to the final reader, has undergone a fundamental change. And today, with the advent of AI, especially with AI being what's called a general purpose tool, AI is actually affecting all three of those parts. Number one, how you do your initial data collection, information gathering, how you prepare your final content, and then third, how you deliver your content. This is undergoing a fundamental shift, and especially today where the whole field of media is undergoing a massive disruption, especially with social media. This becomes even more relevant. And that's what I'm going to talk to you about today. Talk about why AI is important, why AI is relevant. And I'll show you some real world use cases and also a few things that you can do today. Some of these tools that are available on the internet, what some of these benefits, some of these massive improvements that you can bring into your work today. So if you look at why AI matters in journalism, what we are moving from 50, 60 years ago, from a traditional, slow-paced, limited reach type of media to today with social media, digital, fast, personalized, and widespread. This is being driven by developments on multiple fronts. The internet, social media are just two of the main factors. But other factors like cloud technology, mobile phones are also streamlining how people consume news, how news is being delivered. And this is being taken to another level today because of AI. And I'll talk to you about why that's the case today. So I'm sure you all read this over on the news, in articles, in conference you've been to, where the fact that AI is reshaping every aspect of journalism, from content creation to audience interaction. What I'll try to do today is to bring you some context, show you some real world examples as to why this is happening, take out some of the hype, but actually bring it down to ground on what's actually going on in the world. Four things I'm seeing changing on the journalism front. First is, just like everything, just like e-commerce, social media, we are now moving to a world where more and more readers expect news to be personalized. They want the news that they want to see, those topics that they want to see to be delivered to them. There's a good side to this and there's a bad side to this, as we've seen with social media. But this is just a reality of how now users are expecting content to be delivered to them. So AI is one way where even in a country like Sri Lanka where we have 22 million people, 22 million people have different views, different needs. AI is the only scalable way that you can actually tailor 22 million different stories to these 22 million audience. And this is what makes AI so powerful. Second, to boost your audience engagement. In a time where audience engagement is going down, one way to do that is to optimize content for sharing, interaction, reader loyalty, and that's where AI can be very, very powerful tool for you. Also enhance your productivity. I'll give you some examples on that. Work that used to take you hour, 2 hours earlier, now with AI you can streamline it to do that same amount of work in 10, 20, 30 minutes without reducing the quality of the work that you produce. And I'll show you some examples of that. And something that's new, something that was not possible before. And if you look at, I've been studying some of the Pulitzer winning articles over the last 2 years. Most of the articles that won Pulitzer Prizes over the last 2 years have been investigative journalism based on big data, where you analyzed millions and billions of videos, social media posts, CCTV cameras, brought it all together and provided and brought together content, a compelling story, and investigation, which really was not possible 3, 4 years ago, because you would have to hire a staff of about 1,000 people to bring all that data together. And that's a massive difference we are seeing, something new that AI has brought to the table. The ability to do massive investigations with all the data that's available to you today. And I'll show you some examples today. So AI is, like I said, not just a tool, it's the foundation of future journalism and is driving innovation, precision, engagement within the field of journalism. So if you look at some of the historical foundations of journalism, I talked about this earlier. We started with the printing press. This allowed the field of news to go into mass production, some sort of standardization, and also brought about some sort of public literacy and discourse. When earlier this information was only available to a limited crowd, the printing press democratized it to a certain level. Next, we have the telegraph. Telegraph allowed news to be disseminated across larger distances, so increased the speed of news, created a global reach, and also brought about new models like wire services. And then the next big jump, radio and television, brought live news, visual news, which created real-time broadcasting, visual storytelling, mass audience reach. And every single one of these steps, the field of journalism, journalists had to change the way they operate, the way they prepare their content, the way they reach their audience. The next big step was the internet. So the pre-internet era was one-way communication. Once again, you had comparatively limited reach, a slow news cycle, and one-way communication. But with the internet, changed everything. News became instant and global. People around the world could access information anytime, anywhere, and even participate in the conversation. So what we had, especially with the internet coming in, was that you had instant news access, global participation, but the big change was two-way communication, a way for your readers to also communicate with your organizations. And that was a big change on how you all, as a field, as professionals, operate as well. So now what we are seeing with the internet, with AI, is another fundamental shift of this. Now news is fast and global, but handling the sheer volume and variety is very challenging for every single one of you. This is where AI comes in and provides you with those tools to be able to take it to another level. AI allows you to automate tasks, personalize content, and through that, enhance engagement, making journalism more efficient and relevant. And through this, the transformation that we are seeing is that around the world, just like the internet, radio, social media is becoming a backbone of journalism, AI is now becoming the new backbone of journalism, driving the next wave of innovation and accuracy. And through this, through AI, we are able to now have automated content generation, real-time fact-checking, and personalized news delivery, amongst a few things. So if you look at some of those examples, what can journalists actually do with AI? One is, like I talked about many times, is AI for content personalization. AI can analyze reader preferences, behaviors, and you may have 100 articles that you publish in your organization on a daily basis, but you can only deliver to a particular person those content that they want to know about. And AI allows you to do that on a mass scale without having somebody to sit down and write rules saying for this person send this or this person send that. AI allows you to do personalized news creation for your entire audience. And this is done through data collection, content analysis, dividing all your content into different categories, and then delivering exactly what the reader wants to know about certain topics. Once again, I reiterate there's a good side to this and a bad side to this because people can be one dimensional, they don't see the other side of the story, but that's something we can talk about later. But through AI driven personalization, we can increase engagement, increase retention, and also improve the user experience. The next thing is enhancing reader interaction. Same thing. AI enhances audience interaction by analyzing audio engagement, seeing what they read more, see what they read less, and also gives you data points on what the audience actually wants to see from your news sites. And that's done through real-time feedback, integrating your feeds with social media, and also creating more interactive content. And that once again allows you to boost interaction, enhance loyalty, and so on and so forth. But the big change, especially for today, something that you can bring in, all the ones that I talked about earlier require some sort of investment. Requires you to invest in platforms, how you deliver. But there's a lot that you can do today to immediately improve how you create your content, how you generate your content. One of them is streamlining routine tasks, automating the mundane, automating the boring. AI can handle repetitive tasks like transcription, data entry, basic news reporting, and that means that it frees up your time to focus on more in depth investigative stories. It speeds up your content creation and reduces human error in routine work. You can also integrate AI into your editorial process. AI can assist you with content planning by analyzing trends and the different preferences of your readers. It can support your decision making process for content creation, ensure that your stories have the correct tone and resonate with your audiences. And also, it can help you create new business models that combine editorial expertise with AI driven insights. This is once again how your organizations will mature over time to become more powerful. And also, more and more companies, even develop marketing, is using AI as a creative partner. We use AI to help us generate new ideas, come up with new ways to look at. AI can generate content ideas and drafts based on data. This can be a starting point, a platform for some of the work that you do. Journalists can refine, build on some of this AI generated content. And something that's being used heavily, especially around the world, and I urge all of you all to take a look at this, is use AI for fact verification. This is something that's becoming more and more challenged these days with so much fake news, social media, all the stuff that's going around. How are you going to keep up with fact checking everything that's out there? And it's practically impossible to do this manually. And this is something that AI can do quite well, quite competently, which is to instantly fact check, combat misinformation, and also enhance editorial integrity. Something I talked about, one of the new paradigms that's been brought about by AI, is that it has given you a new tool that was practically financially impossible earlier to do for even small media organizations, to do deep dive, big data investigations. And I'll give you a couple of examples of this being used and some other examples as well. We've already seen some work, this is a different example, but just how
Warm greetings to everyone. Namaste. I am OTV's and Odisha's first AI news anchor Lisa. As you all know, OTV is the first private satellite channel of Odisha which came into existence nearly 2.5 decades ago. In these 25 years of its broadcasting journey, OTV has reached many milestones, earning the reputation.
This trend has continued now. There's been more and more organizations moving on to AI. There's news feeders come as a gimmick, but some have actually built business models around this. business models on being able to deliver, once again, personalized content to different people. And I've also seen this in Sri Lanka. Rupani did this a few months ago. This technology is becoming easy and easy to use now. It's about each one of you finding that niche that actually works for you. But now let's go into a couple of examples on uh, big data used for deep dive investigative journalism. The two reports I have for you today would really not have been possible without AI. This is about an analysis done, once again, a Pulitzer Prize winning article on some missing people in Chicago.
Missing in Chicago is a 7-part investigative series by City Bureau and the Invisible Institute that exposes systemic failures in Chicago police handling of missing persons cases, a crisis that disproportionately affects Black women and girls. The series considered multiple aspects of the crisis, including failures in police policy and accountability, the impact on families, and potential solutions. The series started with a machine learning analysis of 30,000 complaint files, which discovered varied patterns of police misconduct, further marginalizing Chicagoans reporting crime, struggling with homelessness, substance use, and mental health disorders. Our data analysis of over 1 million records and interviews with more than 40 sources revealed racial bias and Chicago police officers who routinely violated state law and police procedure. Records were missing critical data points, and detectives closed cases prematurely, including those of 2 murdered teenage girls. Our reporting did more than reveal problems. We restored power to impacted families and humanized their stories. Nonprofit organizations are using our Know Your Rights Guide to empower more families. Our findings sparked official reviews of police accountability systems by the Chicago Inspector General's office. We testified before a state task force as they review law enforcement processes and shape new policies. The city of Chicago has also reached out for a subject matter hearing on the issue.
So this article won Pulitzer Prize last year. And you'd be surprised that this entire investigation was done by about 5 people. Whereas if you went to do this manually without AI, this would have taken you a team of 100 or 200 to analyze 30,000 documents, a million social media posts. The only way that you can do that now is with AI. And those tools are becoming easier and easier to use. No longer do you need hardcore programmers or technical talent to do this. There are more and more tools become available where you can do this analysis by yourself with almost no technical knowledge. This is a report on it's a Washington Post report on the January 6th incident at the US Congress, where the Washington Post once again did a deep dive investigation to understand who was there, where were they at different times of that during that day. And this was once again all done with AI.
And we're going to the Capitol. We're going to try and give them the kind of pride.
The Post used a facial recognition algorithm to analyze video from inside the Capitol and estimated that at least 300 rioters were inside the building while police struggled to evacuate lawmakers. At that moment, 1 floor below the Senate chamber, rioters enter and begin pursuing a lone Capitol police officer, Eugene Goodman, up a staircase to the 2nd floor. They are nearing the chamber, which is filled with lawmakers. The rioters at one point pass within 100 feet of where Pence is huddled with his family. Goodman leads the mob away from a nearby entrance to the chamber and toward a line of police.
And like I said, the entire investigation here was done using AI. They analyzed hours and hours of video footage, social media posts, millions and millions of social media posts. They analyzed extensive video content and social media content. They linked that together with AI. They used AI to identify key individuals and to track their movements, and also mapped out the actions, the different actions that they got all automatically. So they had a full 360 view of what actually happened that day. AI only allowed them to process these large volumes of video data quickly and create a very detailed and accurate report. And this helped improve public understanding of what actually happened that day. This was the really important outcome of this. and which is why they won the Pulitzer Prize for this as well. So the process flow was they collected lots of videos and social media data. AI processed this and identified individuals, locations. That was linked to maps, mapping movements and actions. Then the important step here, there was journalistic verification and investigation because AI also can get things wrong, and I'll talk about this in a bit. And that's when they finally reported and published this report. Few other use cases that we found around the world. News distribution. We have this in Mexico. They've got this chatbot called NET, which is essentially an AI-generated presenter offering soft news to audiences, and soft news mainly based around topics of interest, based on what are the trending topics in social media during at that particular time. Similarly, in Venezuela, we found this Operation Reluit, which once again looks at trending topics on social media, topics that are not being covered by the media. These bots automatically go onto the web, find out what people are talking about, what people are actually interested in, and they develop news stories, automated news stories based on that. Fact checking. Once again, we found this tool where a Spanish media group created an AI tool to detect audio deepfakes. This is becoming more and more problem in the world at the moment, and especially you will find in Sri Lanka, some of the tools that you find on the internet to detect deepfakes might not work because we have Sinhalese and Tamil. So we will have to invest in our own tools to detect some of these deepfakes, especially in our language. Once again, there's another Brazilian fact-checking org that uses a chatbot to do fact-checking. Then news gathering. And this, if you go into the Pulitzer Prize-winning articles from last year, most of them have used big data and AI at some point. And these are some of the other